Hey all, welcome to the Black Hills of South Dakota. The way that this worked out, I'm getting here a little bit late, but I'm going to Crazy Horse Memorial right now, and I can actually see it around this truck in front of me, but we're waiting to pay to get into the park here. Coming here late is not a bad idea because apparently there's a big laser light show we're going to see. So we're going to take a quick look around and see what we've got. Hello.
$12, sir. Get you in there. Everything's open till our latest event starts at 8:30. That's a laser light show, okay?
Awesome. Cool. Thank you.
All right, sir. The ticket gets you in the door. Welcome to Crazy Horse.
Thank you. That's pretty sweet. All right, it is 7:30. This place closes at 9. It's getting dark. I've got my handy dandy little map here. Whoop, kind of, sorta. And then I'll know where to go. We are, I forgot a mask. Take 2 with a mask on. Here he is, back up behind me. Oh, with a tree right there for you, but I think that's pretty cool. Let's go look around inside. There's this welcome center right here. We'll see what we can see. When you enter the main building, you're treated to a museum with Native American artifacts and replicas. So back behind me is Theater 1. They just made an announcement. They're going to show a short film to see the history of Crazy Horse. Or of the memorial. I don't know if it means the memorial or the person. I don't know if I'll see it though. I don't know what kind of time I've got. Let's see how long it is. There's a lot to see in here, but I was in a rush, so after a quick run around inside, I made my way through the gift shop and out to the viewing veranda. A little dark out here, but there's still things to see. Oh, like this scale model here, I'll show you this. This is a 1/34th scale model of Crazy Horse. This is what it's supposed to look like when it's all done. You can still see behind me. So they're lighting it up there. So there's apparently going to be a laser light show going on here in a little bit. We'll see how much we can see. Step 1, if you come to Crazy Horse, don't come this late. Actually, I should amend that. I can see it just fine, but the camera's making it look a lot darker than it really is. So I think it looks pretty cool. So I'll wait for the laser show. We'll see how that goes. Still, it's kind of nice to be here at twilight. Plus, you've still got some time to look around the different buildings and get more information about the mountain and the sculpture itself. You can also look around the sculptor's log studio home and see some of Zelkowski's belongings and pictures. So if you don't know what Crazy Horse is, in 1948, this Polish sculptor was invited by Chief Henry Standing Bear to come to the Black Hills and begin to carve a monument to Crazy Horse. Well, the sculptor passed away a long time ago, but then for the last 70-some years, the family has been continuing this on. And they've received, I think I heard they refused government funding. I could be wrong on that, but they've received no government or federal funding on this. So it's all completely privately funded. Or from donations and from all kinds of stuff. So it's really quite the feat. I know there's a lot of controversy as to if it should be here at all. I don't know enough to weigh in on that for sure, but you know, that's all I know about it really. Just waiting for the laser light show. while the laser and light show is still going on. I don't really need to stay and watch any more of it. It's cool that they did it, but it's the same thing over and over again. I get the story they're telling, I understand, but it's just like, I'm not really impressed. And I'm tired. I gotta get to a hotel, I've been driving all day. So, Crazy Horse. If you're up here, this is definitely, I mean, stop in. But it does feel a little bit like, well, they're trying to make money, like, to fund the project, and I get it. But it just kind of feels that way. You really kind of feel that. So, it's, you know, definitely cool. Come drop by and see it. $12 a person in a car. I think maxes out at like 30 or something like that. So, anyway, I'm going to stop this before I suddenly get copyright infringement. Well, here's the thing, because everything around where I was super booked up tonight, I used Orbitz to book this hotel called the Fountain Inn. They did not get a credit card online, which I thought was weird, but then they said something about how they would email me soon or afterwards for my itinerary or something, and they did not. There was no indication whatsoever. I pull in here now at 10 o'clock at night, driving now an hour away from where I've been, and I'm being told that he canceled my reservation because I did not call in at 4 o'clock. I'm not making this up. Like, this is, I've never heard of this before, so this might be a new thing to me, I don't know, but this is ridiculous. Okay, if that's a policy, just let me know. But second of all, the guy just flat out doesn't care. He said, I don't care. I arrive here, I've driven now an hour out of my way. I was just floored by that. So, just a quick update while I figure out where I'm gonna go. Don't use the Fountain Inn. It's got terrible reviews anyway. I was kind of like dreading it, so it's probably a blessing in disguise. Oh well, one of those things. All right, so crisis kind of averted. I have to drive to Gillette, Wyoming, an hour and 15 minutes farther west than I wanted to be. Good news is it's on the interstate, so I can jump back on I-90 and get back over to South Dakota where I need to be tomorrow morning. Just a little bit longer. So, all right. You still take that off the Fountain Inn. I mean, what kind of a policy is that? You have to, like, call before 4, or like, or you have to sign in before 4, and to not tell people and expect that. I just can't understand that. And even the person I talked to, I just chatted with somebody on Orbitz who was really super cool and helped me out. She had no idea why I was able to, like, put in the reservation without the credit card, so that's not typical. Didn't really expand upon it because there wasn't much else to say, but even she was kind of confused. Like, so I don't understand. But anyway, I've got a place now. I'm gonna get driving. It is almost 11 o'clock and it's late. I'm tired. So probably next time you see me is gonna be tomorrow morning because I just gotta drive. Well, good morning from Gillette, Wyoming. Good old sunny Gillette, Wyoming. Elevation about 4,300 feet or so. I think I'm off on that. But in an attempt to not get too negative, I do want to explain a little bit about last night. The Fountain Inn, I still recommend do not go there because their policies were super unclear. The guy was super rude. I don't know what I'd done to tick him off, but I don't know. The whole thing, doesn't matter. So I ended up an hour and 15 minutes farther west than I hoped to be. Everything I need to see is 2 hours back that way, 2 hours east. So I'm in a Super 8 in Gillette right now. And I got here last night and there was a lineup of about 4 people. It would have been midnight that I got here finally last night. And everybody was in the same boat. That nobody had reservations canceled by the Fountain Inn, but everybody was in the same boat, and that everything around Keystone, Rapid City, Custer, everything around where I was with Crazy Horse and Mount Rushmore was completely full. There was one guy, the trucker guy that was there, was saying, yeah, this is the first time he's ever seen it that way. Everything for 100 miles around was just absolutely booked. This was the closest anybody could get. And I asked him, is that typical? I know it's a holiday weekend, is that typical? And he said, no, it's not like this. So that means there's a lot of people around here, which makes it tricky and nervous about social distancing and pandemic stuff. Well, so far I've been good about that. Everything has been outdoors and masks on when not possible. And even at Crazy Horse, I got out of the inside as fast as possible, staying away from people as best as I could. Today, I think everything's gonna be mostly outside with one exception, but I'm gonna make that call when I get there if I wanna go in and see. So we'll see how it is. So one of the silver linings, though, about being all the way out in Gillette, Wyoming, is I can add one more monument or landmark to my list, and that one's going to be right here. Devil's Tower back here. I saw this thing about 10 miles back on the road coming up, and like right when you come around the corner, it's just moving in the distance. And okay, it's pretty cool. I'm about 5 miles away, and it's really hard to tell right now on this GoPro, but this thing is absolutely massive. Like, it is huge. I thought maybe I'd go into the park, but it's $25 for a car. I don't know, I won't be here for very long, but like, if I had the day to go hike around and stuff, 25 bucks to be in there would be really cool to be close to this. If you don't want to spend 25 bucks, there's a pretty cool little overlook as you drive in. You'll see there a little national turnoff point. It's a point that has a little marker that has some information about it there. You've probably seen this in movies like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and a couple other things as well. Always just been one of those sites that I've always kind of wanted to come to, so here it is. Okay, so the question is it worth the drive? Well, the caveat here is I don't know what I'm missing. I'm not going in the park because I don't want to spend 25 bucks, but if you're, per vehicle by the way, but if you're doing that, this is absolutely worth it, I would say. If you're in the area, if you're checking off like geological bucket lists, the kind of things up around here, you definitely should drive up here. I would say that I would drive 3.5 hours away for this. If you're driving along I-90 and you're passing south of this, definitely turn off and get up here for sure. Even I'm not going into the park, this is just, the immensity of this is just impressive. I can't even capture it on the GoPro here. I know how videos, things don't always look the same, but this is one of those things where you need to see it, how big this thing is. It is just a big natural monolith. There's been like a mile marker, a milestone, and a sacred religious place for Native Americans in the area for who knows how long. It is very impressive. You need to drive up, see Devil's Tower. Okay, I'm gonna get back into the car and head off to the next thing before I get hit by random trucks. After driving through some of the most beautiful highway I've ever driven through, which I couldn't get any footage of because I was driving and it was windy, and I couldn't stop to start a camera on the window. Driving through Keystone, South Dakota, little tourist trappy kind of place, looked kind of neat, and then pulling into a massive parking garage, then walking up some stairs, going through a couple of little gateways. Sure enough, here we find ourselves standing at one of the great family road trips in the country, Mount Rushmore. Now, as you're driving in, you see it a little ways back, and it's when you come around the corner and see it the first time, it's pretty impressive. Almost didn't see it because the sun was right behind it as I was coming in, but it still looked pretty cool. But I've heard people say things in the past like, "Oh, it's so small," or "That's it, really?" And I guess I get that maybe, but this is not at all. It was undersold to me, I guess, and this is not at all what I expected it would be. It's definitely like a spectacle, definitely a marvel. This is pretty impressive. Just incredible. You get right up close to it with this viewing platform that I'm on right now. Unlike Crazy Horse, where you felt like you were just so far away. Let's go look around and see a little more. I think it's a hiking trail we can go on. There's a line for the gift shop because, you know, social distancing. Also, should be wearing these, not a lot of folks are. I'm trying to stay at least 8 feet away from everybody, but see what happens. Amphitheater down here. No one's down here, probably because nothing's happening, probably because of shutdown. But I like it. Kind of see up their nose. Behind me through these glass doors is the Lincoln Borglum Museum, where they talk about how the sculptor carved and designed and then transferred that 1/12 scale carving to the actual mountain face.
Was also attached to the mountain.
It's also got some cool interactive exhibits. You can pretend to blow up the faces. Of course, I'm a big kid, so. There's also a theater in there. Actually, there's 2 theaters in case they've got a big crowd, I suppose. But currently with what's going on, I don't want to go sit in a theater for 14 minutes.
Many consider the studio model to be as much.
Definitely worth a stop in there to understand a bit more about what's going on. I see there's a presidential trail. I'm going to go see if I can hike on that for a bit.
For me, the best part of the whole complex is the presidential trail. It's a 0.6 mile loop that takes you through beautiful wooded areas with access to some incredible views of the monument itself.
if there's a specific way to go on this trail. It's a loop, but the numbers are going backwards. But I'm not the only one. A lot of folks are going. Hopefully it's fine. Take that, Mr. Harris. I just passed your high school history class. Or elementary school.
After a few more stunning photo ops, you'll find yourself at the Sculptor's Studio, one of Guts and Borglum's on-site workspaces. Inside, you'll be greeted by a 1/12 scale model of what the completed monument would have been, and if you time it right, you'll get to hear a ranger talking about the project itself. But I couldn't hang out there all day, so back to the trail.
I always feel like Lincoln's keeping lookout on Washington and Jefferson while Roosevelt sneaks in for a little kiss. I don't know, there's a little presidential bromance back there, who knows?
Dumb jokes aside, the next section of the trail offers some of the most jaw-dropping views of the entire site. You'll find placards with information about each president, but you'll also get some up-close and personal looks from directly below the face of the mountain itself. Definitely take this trail.
Of the trail with the steps. Now I'm just headed back on a nice smooth pavement the rest of the way. Well, that about wraps up for Mount Rushmore. Just a little bit of hiking left back to the car, not too far. Is it worth the drive up? I say yes. This is one of the big, as I said earlier, one of the great family road trips to make up here. There's a lot to do here in the park. The trail's pretty nice to walk through, a lot of information, and just impressive craftsmanship to make this work. If you're up here in the area, make a weekend of it. Go see Mount Rushmore, go see Crazy Horse, go see Devil's Tower. There's all kinds of little like touristy things you can do all over the place around here. So it's definitely worth the trip. If you're coming just for this, 5 hours drive. If you're coming for everything, like 8 to 10 hours or so. Just come enjoy how beautiful this is. Hopefully you get a good weather weekend like this. So I don't really want to go into the social side of a lot of the stuff going on. I know there's some contention about both this and Crazy Horse, but strictly from a tourist standpoint, if I was going to compare Mount Rushmore and Crazy Horse, this one feels a lot more polished. This feels a lot more put together. Crazy Horse feels like a tourist trap. So I heard this great quote a long time ago about creating something and presenting it. And one of the, like what was Don't Let the Price Tag Show. And I feel like when you're here, it's so polished and so like refined, the whole presentation of this. When you're at Crazy Horse, it feels like they want your money, and you know that. Like, most of it's a gift shop. There's so many little things they charge money for. There's a laser light show, which, let's be honest, wasn't terribly impressive. Now, the interesting part of that is, when Crazy Horse is finished, it's going to be, probably in my opinion, a lot more spectacular. But it's just so dressed up and so much extra stuff that doesn't need to be there. It just feels, it feels cheaper, I guess I should say. And this is just my opinion, of course, but still impressive, still worth going to both, absolutely. You know, that's just my take on this anyway. So, this is about wrapping up for South Dakota. Thank you guys for watching, and keep on watching to see where I go next. Who knows where that's going to be.